Yeah. Oh, I
Oh
thought you
yeah,
meant
yeah.
your personal score.
Oh no, I meant like, yeah. No, I meant like in total. Sorry.
Top Gun's so the worst of the two.
I mean,
There
like,
was no wheelchair race in Top Gun, man.
Yeah, man.
If you love the wheelchair scene, you've scored the wrong film higher.
I just I can't relate. I don't get it.
what, racing in the wheelchair? I mean, I guess not many people race it in wheelchairs.
I watched the Simpsons episode that parodied it the
Oh
other
yeah.
day. And it was
That's
kind
Oh
of one
wait,
of those things where it's like it's not even a film that you should be able to parody, but the Simpsons just they never miss.
wait, is that the one where Homer's in like a old person's home, right?
It was
Yeah, that's it.
Saturdays of Thunder.
Oh, okay.
Wait, the Homer's in a.
Oh, to be fair, there's two references then. There's the Soapbox Derby episode, which is Saturdays of Thunder, and then
Yeah,
there's
I
the
thought that was that one.
Homer in the old people's home where they do the wheelchair recreation.
Yeah, so the wheelchair
Oh.
hang on.
You know the GIF I posted. If you find it before me, if not, double gifts.
So I thought Saturdays of Thunder didn't really reference it that much. So I was like, oh, okay.
It was just
Alright.
the racing part was. I mean, where is this GIF?
We need to have a Simpsons page.
Oh, I mean,
Is
like,
April Fool's Day?
well, I mean, you can choose. You can choose the Simpsons movie. It really depends on which one of you choose the Simpsons movie.
I would happily choose the Simpsons movie. I love it.
Oh yeah, I found the GIF in the chat.
Nice.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
Pat.
Pat. No.
Oh yeah, it is that gift. Cool.
Yeah, Simon, if you're not sold on anything, I know what I'm picking. So if you want an extra week,
Bang.
say the Boyd.
Yeah, give me the extra week because I was like, I don't want to do two anime films, but I was like, I don't want to do something else. So I was like, I will so give us the not anime film based thing. Then like we can give something else, unless of course by some miracle that Alec has chosen anime film, but I don't think that's him.
Never, it'll never happen.
Simon's got a good idea here. We should have an anime round.
I'd be happy to, man.
Yeah, I've got a few that I'd pick.
I could
Might be one specific franchise, but
I encourage that, man.
Yeah, I was fine
Oh.
with Dragon Ball.
we should
Unless-
talk about Dragon Ball.
But balls deep
Huh?
and
Oh,
well.
what are you thinking?
You have to wait and see.
I
Mm.
can't think of
Actually,
another series that you like.
I think I do. I could have a guess, but we'll see. Save that for now. When
Wait,
actually,
unless Ben wants to do it next, I don't care.
I do not mind. I'm ready to go, just like you are.
Ooh, oh.
It's not anime.
Time to go!
It's time to go. I think I know what both of your picks are. I'm
Hang
trying to
on,
think
Ben.
which
I'm gonna wheelchair race you for it.
one.
Yeah, how do we settle this?
Actually, you know, we could do that. Well, not that specifically, but we could do something to settle it.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see how we do it.
No, I'll go next this one.
Settle
this.
Settle it.
Hang on.
that is hilarious because I know I'm not really. I'm about like 10, 15 minutes away from like home. So I'm like in the car now. So we'll see how it goes. Play this because I hope to see how you guys are doing.
Fuck. Okay.
You
What?
guys
Hang
have
on.
got to play
Hang on
Crazy
now.
Golf for the right to pick next.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna spectate.
Hilarious. So that is absolutely perfect.
The fuck is going on? The fuck?
Oh,
Am I there?
Jesus.
I can't see anything coming up for me. My Discord's being gay.
Oh, is it not letting you see it?
No, I can't see a thing. I've been having weird trouble with it.
Oh, maybe we can.
If I log out and come back in, maybe.
I don't even know how to exit it once I've started. Maybe I have to go here. Yeah, I have no idea.
There's a
I've
little
started
thing on
something
the
that I can't get out of.
there's a little thing on the video bit. There's got like a little door with an arrow coming out of it.
Oh yeah. Oh right, okay.
I'm amazing.
Oh no, that's the wrong thing. You took particular pleasure in that, Pat.
Oh shit! I've agreed to play this as well, and I'm playing baseball at the same time.
This is where it all goes wrong because Pat wins and doesn't have anything to pick next because he's already been this round.
Oh, I don't have to play it. Oh, that's fine.
Damn it. It's like in real life.
I think I'm
No.
just spectating.
Wait, what the?
But how do I get out?
Oh, it's not actually letting me spectate. I'm just going to play, and
Oh, what?
if I win, then
You choose.
yeah,
Oh.
right.
If I win, we lose.
What colour ball is he?
Fuck!
I think I'm the red one.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm the blue one.
Oh, you're doing terrible at it.
Thank you.
Oh crap. Oh, what happened there?
Oh, I'll chuck myself off the edge.
Oh no.
Damn it!
Oh, I've done it again. Oh, I nearly came back up there.
That's what she said.
Is it?
Ah!
Did you watch the Champions League, Pat?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I know that.
I was quite emotional for Jude Bellingham, to be fair.
Was you?
Yeah, like it's always nice to see an English guy win a European Cup, isn't it? Unless they play for Liverpool.
Oh,
Then fuck
yeah.
them.
I don't know with Jude Bellingham because, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah,
Bollocks.
he's a great player and stuff, but it all happened so young that I'm like, well, he's gonna obviously win a Ballon d'Or one day and do all of that. So
Yeah.
Bollocks.
But I think being at Real Madrid,
Oh.
I think it will keep him his mind sort of occupied on it. Like if he did it at like Man United or some
Yes!
team in England,
I got the whole.
then I think there's always a chance that he will just fall off.
if England win the Euros, do you think there's a chance that he'll win a Ballon d'Or this year?
No, I don't. I think Vinicius has it won.
Really?
I think Vinicius is more important to Real Madrid than Jude Bellingham is. But Jude has had a fantastic season.
I think if Brazil win the Copa America, then 100%. But if Brazil don't win it and England win the Euros, I think there's a chance of an upset.
Does film clubs seem different to anyone else?
Seems like, yeah, right. Very sporty. Right, I can go through this hole. Oh, I did go there. There we go.
Hey.
Oh, nice. My mum's just bought Disney Plus.
Said no one ever.
She literally just did. She's asked me, did I want a profile?
Oh, go on.
So I can watch that new Acolytes show when it comes out.
Yeah, I don't even get to the premiere of that.
Oh, Emmanuel's here.
Manuel!
Yes.
That's exactly what I said when I was asked about bacon sandwiches.
Would anyone like a bacon roll? Yes.
Bacon.
You said that like it was two separate words.
Bake on, bake off.
You said Jamaican accent. You sound a bit. Oh,
Where's
this
Ben?
is just that little laugh crazy girl.
What is
Wow.
this? Putt golf?
Yeah, man.
Interesting. Do I play?
We can, if you want. If you can, yeah.
It's for next pick.
Okay, I don't know how this works, but I will try.
We should settle all our disputes like this.
Yes.
To be fair, that's probably how mine and Alex's dispute should end. Instead of one of us getting the other and disappearing off the grid for a couple of days.
I didn't manage a couple of days, to be fair.
I know, you managed less than 12 hours.
Yeah. My tantrums are very flash in the pen.
I got a whole
To be fair, a couple of weeks ago, I got dealt with John and just got rid of the app for like 6 hours.
No!
Damn it. Damn it.
Yes!
Rob, just 1 week to go.
1 week to... Oh yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Say.
Whose ball is the green ball?
Emmanuel.
Manuel.
Oh, right. Oh, nice shot.
Oh! Oh no, Rob activated sticky ball. So you're the one.
It's not something I activate on purpose.
Go on, Ben. You can do it. I said, go on, Ben. You can do it.
That's like. It's just figuring out how to control it is my issue. I don't want to move the map.
No! Oh, fuck off.
Where the fuck am I? Oh, I see. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh, you.
Oh, go on. Oh, I almost got an old one.
No!
Wow, man, you got a chip shop.
Oh, I thought Ben was green. I was like, he did quite fast there.
Oh, Ben's got 16 scores.
I don't know how I've managed to do that.
Oh, is this one?
Look at how powerful you have to hit.
At the moment, Alex in the lead for next week. Well, technically I am, but that would be rude.
Oh, victory.
The much coveted victory, Rob.
How do we... I don't know how to do this.
I told you, there's a thing that says putt party.
Butt
Leave.
party.
Butt party. I don't think we
It
should
says
have a
butt
butt
party.
party. At least not doing anything.
Oh,
Oh wait, it's leave activity.
I told you that.
Yeah, I pressed the wrong one before, I apologise. Must admit, I was rooting for Ben a bit, but...
Well, fuck you.
Who won?
Alec.
I can't say I appreciated that. That's it. Who won? Alec. Wah, wah, wah. So, Rob, why did you pick this film?
I think the real question is, why didn't I pick it 4 years ago when I was first got it? Or why didn't I pick it 3 years ago? Or 2, or 6 months ago? Yeah, it's been on my list since we very first started. Like it's probably the film. Well, it's like the same for a lot of people, really. Like it's probably the first anime film that I saw, and sort of as a result, it's what made me go and look at things like Ghost in the Shell and the Studio Ghibli stuff, and yeah, I think that's quite a common experience. But I can never like quite put my finger on like why I think it's so great. I think it's like I think it just appeals to a lot of things that I think are really cool. Like I really like the cityscapes, and like I think like some of my favourite bits are just when you know the scene right near the beginning where like the buildings are kind of like spreading out and you're sort of seeing more buildings appear behind them and all that kind of stuff. Like there's like maybe it's growing up in London, like the way it sort of like romanticises inner city kind of big buildings and all that kind of stuff. Like it just it's a really cool world to sort of get lost in for me. But yeah, I also I think like the whole kind of like near future stuff is always really interesting. I think the way that they do it in this, where it's kind of like it's sort of a catastrophic event that's unfolding, and I find it super interesting as well, sort of watching it now that the time that it's set in has passed. Like it's a similar thing to Blade Runner in that respect, because it's kind of it's interesting to look at the sort of not possible timelines for now, but like the sort of the way that people of the past, even though it wasn't that long ago, were imagining this kind of like point in history. Is always super interesting to me. But yeah, I really wanted Pat and Ben to watch it. I thought they'd both really like it. And I just kind of just wanted to have an argument with you, Alec, but I don't think we're going to get into it.
No, sorry, it was unfortunately it was actually quite good. No one's more disappointed than me.
Yeah, I was watching I was watching this compilation of like all of the homages to the slide on the motorbike.
Mm.
And
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I think a lot of it is just like it does that thing where I really love getting lost in it just because everything feels so cool. It's like it's probably sounds like quite a shallow thing, but like a lot of Batman comics have the same thing for me. Like I'm just like, oh, I just really enjoy being in Gotham. Like in this, I just really enjoy being in Neo Tokyo, even though it's like completely fucked. Yeah.
It's alright. You could have sounded more surface level. It's not like it's whoosh or anything.
Sounds like you're hoovering, Pat.
Oh, really?
now I'm worried I've caught you.
Oh,
It's
fuck.
gotta be
Struck out.
the most low energy hoovering I've ever seen.
Sorry, I'll reduce the volume a bit.
Yeah, I gotta say, like the animation is fucking phenomenal. Just the way everything's sort of moving, you can tell they really I don't know they really worked to make it feel like kind of a living, breathing sort of environment. And yeah, it's really funny as well. Just kind of thinking, I could just imagine like someone working on this and going like, oh, I wonder what animation's going to look like in this sort of title in 2024. Going like, oh wow, what's this going to look like? And it's like, no, it got worse actually. Because this is still highly. I don't know. It's just not. It's not something that we ever really got into. I guess like. I guess like making something like this is like too expensive or something, or it's too time consuming. But yeah, I'd feel pretty.
I think it's probably like an industrialization thing.
Mm.
Because now it's like animators are treated like shit, like across the world, because it's always like more output for less money, and because they're not kind of like the stars of the film, like they just have less and less resources all the time. Because if there's any cuts to make more profit, it's always like their department that gets it, kind of thing. But I do feel like back then, like, you know, not everywhere, but like there was kind of like a feeling that it was still sort of like art for the sake of art. And I really like some small details, like where you see like the light trails from the back of motorbikes and that kind of thing, because that's how cameras were sort of picking up light at the time.
Mm.
And just sort of bits like that where it's like, yeah, it's very kind of like, it's very considered.
That sort of stuff's great though, because like it kind of I don't know. I don't want to say ages it, but it kind of shows where like it's come from a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel bad like thinking that they must have worked on this going like, wow, I wonder what this is gonna look like in like 20 years time, and it's just like, hey, yeah, got this Akira's still possibly one of the best ones. Like this not it's only the animation's only gotten like kind of lazier.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been possible without a person also called Akira.
Okay.
Yeah, good old Akira Kurosawa. He was a legendary.
No, not that one. Going based on that, like I was reading an article about something Akira Toriyama said before he died.
Oh.
It took him 6 months to do an episode of Dragon Ball. So like it took takes so long to animate what you've got on a manga page. And I'd imagine like they had sort of similar-ish levels on this one. Like there was so much inspiration from like Dragon Ball and Blade Runner in this film. Like it sort of just makes you smile watching it.
I know at the time it was. I imagine it's probably not the case now. It's definitely not the case now. But At the time, it was the highest budget for an anime film in history.
Hmm.
Doesn't
Yeah, it
shock
does
me.
show.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that's one of the things that I really love about it is that like you can tell that a lot of that has gone into making it look as like as sort of like crisp as possible. Like it is a sort of it's a version of the future that you can quite easily fall into, and I think you see a lot of it in what's the Blade Runner sequel? Is it 2049?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of it in that. So like some of the ideas about like the holographic billboards and how they use light in Neo Tokyo, like it's quite similar to how Denis Villeneuve uses it in Blade Runner 2049.
All
Can I-
right, sorry.
Hey Rob, after watching this, I'm very surprised you don't like Cyberpunk.
Oh, the game.
That's basically they took massive inspiration from Akira to make that game.
To be fair, I probably would like it. It's just that when I started playing it, it wasn't what I expected it to be. Because I downloaded it thinking like, because I was basically craving like an open world game, and I downloaded it thinking it was an open world game, but it's not entirely.
I think it gets more open world the more you play into it. Like in the beginning of it, it's quite what do you call it? It's quite like it's got its
Handholding.
narrative walls on it.
Yeah, it's because people were talking about how like different sort of NPCs interact with one another and how like you have random events going on, but yeah, all of that stuff was the stuff where I was going like, oh, this is great, I can't wait to play it, and I just didn't really encounter it. I will go back to it at some point.
I'd
But it's just
recommend
I
it.
was expecting it to be something that it wasn't.
I second what Pat said. As you get more into it, it gets more open, and yeah, I really love the game. Like really love it. It's one of my favorites. So.
Yeah, no, I will go back to it at some point.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
say, I was expecting this to considering this is meant to be sort of like deeply inspired by Blade Runner. I was expecting it to wind me up a bit more, but it's like it's not that far. Do I say this? Do I say it's like not that far from like actual now? Like it's not. I don't know. I didn't consider it like that far flung of a concept. Like
Yeah.
other than the kids I thought were aliens.
Yeah, no.
I
To
think
be
quite not.
fair, like it's because that was always the kind of the fun, not funny thing, but like I don't know. I suppose like a bit of a strange thing because obviously in this you've got the 2020 Olympics being in Tokyo, and then the Olympics that were in Tokyo were supposed to be in 2020, but they got called off because of COVID. And it's like this is a bit close to are things going this way?
Yeah, I think I was just expecting a lot more like I don't know. I think I was expecting a bit more like product placement and that, but like it like other than like canon, I didn't really pick up an awful lot.
I did.
So
I think
there
that
probably
was
was
really
some.
well done actually, though, because if you look at like the motorbike, because I remember when I first watched it, this was something that I noticed, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting because you got like the Canon logo, there's a Coca-Cola logo, there's something else, maybe Castrol, but like there's loads of different logos, and I remember thinking like, I wonder if they're like paying to be on there, or if it's just like they suit the purpose of the story, so like they're there whether they're paying or not. And then I was like, actually, that's kind of nice because it's sort of win-win because either they've paid to be there and they've contributed to the budget of the film, or it just works that they are there, and whether they've paid to be there or not, it does work. So yeah, I thought that was really cool because it's like because the thing with product placement, like we spoke about it before, like it's so like unsubtle in most instances. Whereas with this, like it's part of the visuals.
Hmm. That's the thing. Like, I think that's yeah. I think that's what I was expecting because I remember Blade Runner. It was going like Budweiser, Coca-Cola. I'm just like, I get it. I understand. Whereas, yeah, this was a bit more. This is a bit more subtle. I'm sorry. Just be one of those things that I was going to get annoyed at, and I usually get annoyed at. This time, it's not happening. It's done quite well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I have a couple of gripes with it, but like it's not. I mean, obviously.
Motherfucker, I'll murder you.
But like yeah, it's not even there's not even like that much that I can really have a go at. To be honest. Like, yeah, I think the general's a bit lackadaisical about security. Let's say.
That's a recurring one, isn't it? Like that's
Everyone just forgets about it.
I think there's more examples of lackadaisical generals in sci-fi films than not in film club.
Yeah, that's the common thing.
It's just you have you have like the lady go the little girl going like, right, this guy's fucking crazy. Don't let him out under any circumstances. And he's gone, yeah, all right. And then next shot, the nurse is up, like, knocking on his door, and she's like, "Oh, he's gone." And I was like, "Great." And then they're like, "Yeah, let's put him back in there. Let's put a stop to that, like right now." And then, yeah, he just sort of they get like a little thing going, like, "Hey, he's out of his room," and then he's out of his room, and they're just like, "Ah, fuck." And I'm like, what were you doing? Like, were you? I think you should have someone sort of sat on the bedside, just constantly just pumping him full of sedatives. Like, I know you're a bit short-staffed, but like, definitely, like, you know, this guy seems important. I feel like you want to sedate him forever.
I think that was one of the things that COVID kind of legitimised, though, because like that whole thing of like government agencies versus science.
Yeah,
that was like the
shit.
theme of the whole thing. Like,
everybody fucking sucks.
Like it's just like, yeah, because it was sort of this and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where like they were two films where like before COVID, I'd have maybe been going like, why are people acting like this in this kind of situation? And then after you've seen like Chris Whitty be told to shut up on TV, it's like, well, maybe that is just how people are.
Yeah. Questionable as well.
It's bad, isn't it, when I'm going like, this fictional military man was blind and stupid, and it's like, oh yeah, it's quite
Also,
quite
wasn't it
true
also,
to life.
yeah, but also wasn't it because the corrupt politicians were like pulling funding from him all the time? They're like, no, this is not going to happen. Nothing is going bad's going. We're past World War III.
See,
This is fine.
This is what I mean. Until you said World War III, I weren't sure if you were talking about Akira or real life.
Oh well, I mean, like art intimidates. I mean, yeah, life intimidates art. I mean, like currently in Akira,
Did you say
there's a
life
bunch of-
intimidates art?
Well,
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
there's a bunch of students protesting, and there's a bunch of police officers beating up students. I mean, like,
Doing what to students?
oh, there's the one scene where the riot officer just fucking shoots a student with tear gas, like point blank. Yeah, so it's like, is it like life and art are the same thing? I mean, is anything like that happening right now? I mean, you know.
I find that so fascinating though, because it's like, because yeah, if you look at it as what it is, right? So this is like a version of now, which somebody in, when did the manga come out? Was that the 80s?
No, not the fucking 80s.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
this was
pretty much
88,
Yes.
wasn't it? So
Yeah, this
yeah.
at
is
the very
88.
earliest,
Yeah,
it's
Yes.
81.
So
Because
it ended in 1990, but yeah, in the 80s the manga was out.
yeah.
yeah, because he didn't finish the manga when the movie came out. Because that's why it has like multiple. It has two endings, technically speaking.
Yeah. So yeah. So like, this is somebody's perception of what now could be like 40 years ago,
Yeah,
and
that's very fascinating. Because
and
I
it.
think, sorry to interrupt, Rob,
Oh
it's
yeah.
probably closer to like how it is now, as we mentioned, than say Blade Runner is. Because even though
Yeah.
it's similar to Blade Runner, it's probably more closer to real life than Blade Runner was depicting 2019
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the time.
definitely. Because that's the thing. I think Blade Runner is like, well, it's a high concept which makes you think about your own life. Whereas this is like, it is just a version of what now could be if things went horribly wrong, and I think that's kind of, it's sort of grounding in a way, because if you take out the things that have gone horribly, horribly wrong, we're not far off. Yes.
That's the thing. It's gone like, cool. Imagine if life was as dystopian as this could be, like in 20 years, and it's like
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah,
And
like
like,
we haven't, like, you know, we haven't sort of.
We haven't got the bikes, but we
w-
have got riots, and we have got SWAT teams, and
look,
we have got.
And
it
we have
just needs.
Donald Trump.
Well, he's in prison. Oh,
I
he's
don't think he's on
dying,
Akira,
though.
but
Yeah. But I mean, technically speaking, we just need something to happen before an Olympic game, and like, if something nuclear happens, well, we know what sort of universe we're in then. Which is worse, because I realise there is an Olympics this year in France, in Paris. So if Paris blows up, we know that
yay!
something has
Oh no.
happened. It's just like, well, fuck.
What fucking good news! Hooray!
I do really love that opening scene, by the way. I think that's actually one of the best opening scenes like ever. Just the big explosion, and then
Oh,
Neo
I
Tokyo
agree.
2019. Like, it's so effective, especially now we've passed the date.
Yeah, it's very minimalistic, and it's kind of like what year is this? Apart from when that comes up with the
Yeah,
year, it could be any time, and it's scary for how it could literally wipe out a whole city.
Didn't it say
it's cool how it's over
1988?
in like 2 seconds. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, are you saying something?
Didn't it say? I'm pretty sure it popped up. It says 1988, didn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, does
because
it
I
say
think you
1988?
could put that as the explosion during the World War Two. Technically, that's what's so scary about it. That Japan has had in this Akira universe has been blown up three times before that,
That's
or twice before that, and that was the third time, and then it obviously happens again in the ending of Akira. So it's 4 times that City of Tokyo.
See, this is another thing that I just find fascinating as like a concept, because it's a similar thing to what I find fascinating about Godzilla, because we've never really been through the stuff that Japan's been through in terms of like being bombed to shit, and I find it really fascinating that like you've got this and Godzilla that sort of not tries to make sense of it, but it's like it's an artist's perspective on trying to cope with it as a country.
Yeah,
It's
that's it.
really yeah, it's really fascinating, because it's something that I don't think we can really relate to. Like, I
Yeah.
can't imagine, because you know the story about that guy in World War Two who, I can't remember which one he was at, but like he was at the site of one atomic bomb, and then he got on a train and he was at the site of the other. It was just
Oh, right, yeah. I've heard that story. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the most unluckiest men alive, supposedly.
yeah,
I think that's the title of his after book that's written about him. Yeah, it's just
What,
like,
one of the unluckiest men supposedly?
yeah, well,
To
no,
be
it's like
fair, though,
the unluckiest man alive. I think it's called. I think that's
Yeah.
what it's
Oh,
called.
okay.
no, definitely the luckiest to be at both and be able to write a book about it. Like,
No. I don't think it was he wrote a book. I think it was written about him. So I don't think he was able to get any like royalties or anything.
oh
It's
no,
just
I just mean in terms of like you've seen 2 atomic bombs go off, and somehow you're still dawdling around. Like, it's like, Jesus, man. Like, yeah, that's insane odds.
yes.
But yeah, it's so like outside of our frame of reference, and this is what I was saying earlier about COVID, because you look at something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers before COVID, and it's so like this. It's so far outside of your own frame of reference that you kind of look at it as if like the way that people act is like totally irrational, and like it's something that could never happen because you have this kind of like belief that if something like that ever was to happen, that that there would be some kind of like, because that's what you always hear about with World War Two, is like the Blitz spirit, right, with like people coming together and helping one another through like these really tough times, and like that kind of thing gets really like romanticized, and then you kind of watch films like Invasion of the Body Snatchers with that sort of mindset, that we'd all come together, we'd all help one another, and it would all be fine because of this like community spirit that would take everyone over. And then you go through COVID and you realise that that's quite like it's not quite as common as you hope it would be, and that actually when something like that does happen, it's just, it brings out like the absolute worst in a lot of people. That's when something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers becomes realistic. So I suppose the thing that I find fascinating about Akira post-COVID is knowing that this kind of like concept is so far out of my own frame of reference, and it's from the perspective of somebody who is, I guess the guy probably would have lived through World War Two, because if he wrote Akira in the 80s, then that would have only been 40 years prior. So he either would have been a kid or he would have been like a young teenager when all of that was going on. Like that's really fascinating to me, that like this is the product of a frame of reference that's gone through all of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Well, I mean, like it's that and the political side of it. For this is going to go back to the manga detail, so bear with us. So essentially, essentially, Akira in the movie ends with him turning to space dust. Like, Rob, what was that very terrible movie that you made us watch, where the guy just ends up as space dust? Or what was that? Dark Star. That's it.
Oh no, you misspoke there, Simon. You said it was terrible.
Oh, a very old, low budget movie. Okay.
Yeah, the terrible
the
one.
word you were looking for is misunderstandably
Terrible?
brilliant.
Nah,
Masterpiece.
Sure. But like, yeah, sure. But like, essentially, it ends up him turning to space.
Don't give him it, Simon. Fuck him.
But for the manga, which is like 6 books long, it's not actually that long of a manga series. It ends because there is an aftermath to Akira bombing Japan again, and it's like I think it actually involves America and the EU trying to start a World War IV essentially, and it's kind of like used as the more political side of like, we still have an Akira, we won't be afraid to use it if we have to against America or the European Union. And it's like,
is that the concept of like the United States of Europe kind of thing?
I can't. I remember because they did. I mean, like there is like another name for it in the manga. Like they don't really. I don't think it's actually called the EU, because the concept, like complete concept of the EU, wasn't like realized during the time of when this manga was like written. But like obviously it has now. So you might have just called it EU just for the sake of it. But the point is, like, it's a bit, the political side of it is again changed very importantly because of like essentially its concept of nuclear deterrence as well. And with that being like, especially with him going through World War II and Akira being because of like World War III, and that's a set of that mindset is already there, and that mindset is like changed because of people who have lived through it. It's like, do we want to go nuclear? No, but we have a backup plan if we must, and that's obviously a bit more like macabre, I guess is the best way to describe it. But it's like it's interesting to think about it that way because it's like looking at how you would have like your other sort of like sci-fi films with is space laser like a sci-fi trope? I don't know anymore. I feel like I see space lasers too much nowadays.
I'd hope it was.
It is a sci-fi trope, right? But it's like because I see space lasers all the time, I'm like, I don't really need nukes. You've got space lasers, and I don't. I was like, I mean, like, but does everyone have space lasers? I don't know. And it's just like it's the mindset of the people in this alternate version of 2019 is it's just like so extreme because looking at the police officers just like empty clips of bullets into that one guy with like a pistol and like seeing that I was like, well, that's a bit fucking heavy-handed, isn't it? But not thinking of like, no, because they've lived through World War III and like the mindset and like lifestyles of people have changed. The concept of how they live would also have changed, so it makes more sense that way. And that's like, yeah, because it is alternate 2019, and bless you. Oh, did you? What did you? But it's like, yeah, it's kind of like seeing that it's like, yeah, it's a bit more extreme, I guess, is to what is probably is, and I think it's shown very well in this story because of like what everyone's been through and how they lived through all of that, and that's it really does show just like how like people have changed because of like how much they live through all this terrible shit.
Yeah. And I think that's the really interesting thing about Tetsuo as well, because it would be so. I mean, he's a really interesting character because he's kind of like it's a bit like he's kind of written without a morality, I suppose.
Well, I think he's kind of tying into what you're talking about, really, because it's like when you've lived through all these things, like you probably do have a mindset of if shit hits the wall, I want to be able to fend for myself, and that's exactly what that looks like when you give someone who thinks that way that nuclear power. That's what he comes out as. Because it does just turn into a huge power trip.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was kind of wondering. I was kind of wondering how like Canada sort of fit into all of it, because like there are a lot of lines devoted to none of this is his fault. We don't know why he's here. He's just like around. I was kind of like, why did they like draw so much attention to that? And it was just kind of like, no, literally, like he just sort of like, I think like my favorite scene in the whole thing was like that flashback of how they met and stuff, and it's just like, okay, Canada's just like he does just kind of like involve himself in things like, but he's coming at it from like a good place, and he's trying to like help people and that, but like in the gang, I can see how that's turned into getting pissed off that Tetsuo keeps like trying to like go off on his own and nick his bike and all that, and I can see why Tetsuo's got like really irritated at that and short-tempered at that. And it's like, you know, he's just trying to like look out for him and stuff, but he just kind of keeps sucking it back at him. And it's like, yeah, that's. I don't know. I didn't think Canada had like a lot of depth until like that flashback, and then I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get him a bit more now. Yeah.
I would say it's because they tried
cool
to make Canada more of the main character more than Tetsuo. Because it usually even with the Akira poster, it is Canada that is on it, and it's like people have said, well, Canada is the protagonist, right? And it's like, I mean, kind of, but not really. The story is definitely more about Tetsuo itself. You could say he's the good guy, but it's kind of like he's not. Is he just like the main protagonist? It's not quite right there because like both of the protagonists is Tetsuo more because of him going through it all and
Yeah.
meeting Akira.
He has more of an arc. He has more of a screen time, I'd say, as well.
Yeah, and that I mean, like Akira being the what's the word? What's the
Entity?
what did no. Akira is the
Antagonist?
Akira's the
Oh, Akira's
manga.
a MacGuffin?
Yeah, MacGuffin. That's it. But
Yes.
like
The MacGuffin.
yeah,
The
MacGuffin. Yeah.
MacGuffin.
But it's again manga wise, anime wise. MacGuffin Akira is in the anime, but Akira manga wise is actually alive. He's actually a kid. You see him. You actually physically see him, and he's still a bit of a MacGuffin, admittedly. But it's kind of like, oh, he's actually just a kid, and it's like it changes slightly because like when we go back when Tetsuno can't control his powers and becomes eldritch monster made of flesh and machine, it's mainly because of Akira like being there as well and him losing control of his powers. But it's kind of like it blurs a bit. But it's like the story is generally no, I say generally, yeah, it's generally the same. But it's like kind of like mixes up a bit. But I think even if you haven't read the manga, I think the story makes sense in its own sort of right. I mean, like there's a lot of like there's whole sets of art, whole like story arcs about Tetsuno taking over the clown gang and him becoming like the rival bike gang against Canada. But that's like if we went into that story, it would be like the movie's already 2 hours. It'd be like way much more longer, and it's just like it just can't. There's too much stuff to add. But like but the way that it's cut down now, I think it's still I think it's still quite well done. There's like the missing thing about them being the pill gang with like kind of this awesome fucking like biker jacket with the big like capsule on the back. There's like a whole missing arc behind him taking drugs to get high before he rides his bike. But I think even with that, it doesn't matter too much. It's like it makes sense enough, I think.
Oh yeah, it still worked for me and Alec and Pat, who all haven't read the manga.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't read all the
Rob,
manga.
have you read the manga yourself?
No, I read like 5 pages of it, and then basically I got it through illegitimate means, and
Oh,
the version that I had was not brilliant, so I gave up on it.
on the
But no,
dodge
I
side.
would like to read it at some point. I should really get a hold of it.
I think you can get. I think you could probably buy it on Amazon if you really needed
Oh
to.
yeah, I mean yeah, it's
Get,
definitely
like-
attainable.
Yeah, it's very attainable. And I like other
Oh yeah,
movies of
it's in
ours.
that shop. It's in that
What?
shop as well that we went to when we saw you.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, the comic
Yeah,
book shop.
it was actually next to Berserk, so
Oh,
near the counter, left to the counter, they have Berserk, and I think they have Akira there as well.
okay.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
Cool.
but yeah, it's pretty easy to attain since it's such a classic.
Yeah.
That fucking nerd shop you took me to fucking affected me, man.
That's the same shop that Emmanuel's talking about.
Oh, I know. That was what I brought it up.
Wait, which
I-
nerd shop is this?
It's an independent comic,
It's his
book
little
shop
fucking nerd
retailer.
shop he goes to.
But there's board games and board play stuff. And
I
all
had a dream about it last night. It's wormed its way into my subconscious. It was so fucking nerdy.
Did
And I was
they
like,
offer you
oh,
did they offer you a free pack of Magic the Gathering and got you addicted, and that's how they get you? They give you the free pack, and you're like,
they ain't
hey,
getting me
man,
addicted.
you got another like thunderous like clap, please. It's just
I have
like-
one.
That bloke was trying. He kept going like, "We got a Discord, you know," and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
You can trade your cards. I'm like, I ain't got any cards. Stop looking at me.
nice.
Who was the one that you met? Was it the one with the goatee?
The one with the goatee was the one who kept going like,
Yeah,
I know.
he's alright to be fair.
"Oh, mate, nah." Anyway, fucking nerds.
Back to the point of this film and like the police brutality. I realized that the army has used the this is like just a little like tidbit. Has the arms on the armbands. They have like their sigil. The sigil is the sakura flower, which is what they use for the Tokyo Metropolitan Police. And I'm like, oh, that's a bit awkward, right? You got like the Met Police becoming armed with like guns and tanks, and that's just like that's not a good sign. And to see what like was happening there, and it's just like, but you don't blame them because you have crazy kids who are like when they get interrogated have fucking like grenades that they pull and they're like fucking kamikaze right is that fucking like building afterwards, it's just a smoke bomb and he gets the shit kicked out of him, rightly so, because he was to fucking blow him up. I don't blame the police officers kicking the shit out of him. So I was like, I was like, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I don't know how else to explain that. It's like it seems the brutality of the country has changed because of like where they are, where like the fucking gym teacher who when they're in the principal office just punches each one of them in the fucking face, and it's just like I don't know. Why are you giving a thumbs up? That's not good for you, Manuel.
It was funny.
Oh yeah, sure, it's funny. Yeah, but you're like, yeah, corporal punishment. And it's just like,
Bring it back, man.
it's like, oh,
Yeah, that school was like so run down as well. That was quite interesting to see. The details in the animation, especially stuff like that, you can think, oh, it's not all pristine and nice all the time. And this school was like, all falling apart, and they had all the details put in to make sure you knew that, and every shot, and that was such an impressive little detail that made you kind of feel for these guys, and you kind of understood how they were and why they were the way they are, which was very interesting. Because it's something that's not said in dialogue, it's just something you see in the background of a scene and stuff, which is why the animation in this was so good.
But even that though, like when you
I was.
Sorry, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say a really bad joke. Say yes, bring in national service as a reference. I don't.
Oh, then you say national service, and I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, that is a bad joke.
Yeah, it's too close to home.
Mm.
Isn't it mad that that's too close to home?
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing. Like when you draw a parallel between like that stuff to, I suppose, like to be fair, more like America than here. So like when you draw the parallel to like things like police brutality and school shootings and all that kind of stuff, like it's kind of sad in a way because like it's so easy to sort of look at a film like this and go like, oh, this is why these people are like they are and why there's no kind of like morality to it and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, you look at the effects of it all in real life and it's not quite as well, people aren't quite as understanding towards it.
No, not enough people kind of have an empathy. Like the characters in this film kind of eventually turn around and see the errors of their ways to a point. But I don't know, it's just it's grimmer in some aspects, but kind of more optimistic in others. Because it's not entirely grim. It's not entirely the world's fucked. It's only going to get worse kind of thing. Akira, the world of Akira, kind of had this lot of hope to it. It was just that we're becoming a better city. Tokyo is better than ever, despite everything that's going on. It's rebuilt itself. There's progression and there's just people, despite there's a lot of squalor and crime and stuff like that. It still has this positive aspect. So
I get what you're saying. One thing that the manga, which I also still need to finish. After the end of the film, in that way, in the manga itself, because there's even more destruction, it feels even more sad because of like them like surviving and dealing with whatnot in that landscape. It makes it feel more similar to Mad Max. I think after the kind of events of the film, like the people who are still left to kind of try and live.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because it's kind of like, yeah, Tokyo has been destroyed once again, and there's the people left technically have not got nothing left again. So they can only go two ways about it, and which way do they go? And it's kind of, but it still has this positive kind of like glimmer of hope, despite all that. Because most cases the destruction's that's it. It's very grim and depressing and just like dour, and it has that too. But it's quite careful not to go too far the other way, I felt. But it's not quite a film that needs to have it or need to work, because some films do need it, and some films are kind of makes the film worthwhile and the story have a point and more of an impact. But Kira does all the impact and has these important stuff, but still has a bit of levity at certain points.
Yeah, I did like all the injury. Speaking of impact, just like every time, like the injury detail.
Oh right.
So like someone fires a gun and like it takes half of someone's face off, and I was like, fucking neat.
Gnarly, dude. It's gnarly.
Like, yeah, guns are really fucking dangerous, and I'm really sick of seeing people get shot and then like just go and do a marathon afterwards. Like, fuck you. Like,
yeah, everything had an effect and an impact in terms of like there was consequence to every punch. It wasn't like, oh, I got hit, I'm still fine. No, everyone gets hit is terribly wounded to a point they struggle to do something else.
And you have stuff like just when they're in the sewer and you have people like gagging from the smell. I was like, nice. This is good. Like for just giving us atmosphere of where we are, and just kind of like it's not just a drawing of a sewer. Like this, like the smell is like a factor. And I like when they're like, oh god, and they have to like submerge themselves because they can hear someone coming. And then like when he goes up for breath, he sees this rat corpse and it's full of maggots, and he's like, "Fuck!"
That's so good.
That's so
And it's
good.
it's not it's not just the animation by itself. There's attention given to it, like in the script.
How the characters react to the situation they're in is very important.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say I agree with that, because I remember like earlier scene where we have like the young kid Takashi, and you have like the general like speaking to him, and he looks around like a kid who knows he's done something bad would look around at us. I was like, oh, that's such a minute thing, but it makes sense for the character, because even though he looks like an old man, he's still just like what. He's still just a kid, and it's like he does like that dying eye looking thing, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and it's just like amazing stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it's great. But there is one scene where Tetsuno does get shot by that fucking beam weapon and survives, but I think that's allowed because he has Deus Ex Machina's powers by then, so I don't know if that counts or not.
Yeah, sure. It's not like in the beginning. He can be a bit more vulnerable at that stage. I want to say something about the animation that I think Emmanuel covered in some of the facts he's been pointing out too. That when I looked on like some of the behind the scenes of this film, it is fascinating. For obviously we know that how films are made now with the budgets that they're allocated to them and stuff, but back then, it for Japan, it had like 10 million budget. adjusted for inflation, it's like it's a quarter. It's like 26.5 billion, which million, sorry, not billion, million, and so that is massive for back then when animated films were like 1 to 5,000, 5 million to a point.
Mm.
And when they animated it, they didn't just do it to 35mm resolution. They did it to 70mm, which is IMAX resolution, and that's like 8K. And so everything was so much more bigger. Everything was like they didn't cut any corners in terms of like let's just do it for the cheap. Let's reuse backgrounds. Let's just cut and paste this here. They didn't do that. Every frame that Emmanuel mentioned, I think he said it was like 160,000 frames used in this movie.
Oh wow.
And that's mental.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great stuff. But saying that, I still noticed they did use budget-saving animation tricks,
Yeah.
like they all did for all anime. And I
But-
think but I still think even with that, it's ingenious because like they still had the big budget. Oh, they did. I say big budget. They had the big budget, but they still found ways to cut corners to save on the budget. It's like, I mean,
that
it's
was
not.
smart.
It was
But
incredibly smart.
What I was going to say
Nicky-
though is that Otomo, when he made the movie and it came out, he was disappointed with it because he feels that the first half is perfect and brilliantly animated. It's the second half where they did cut corners because that's when the money was running out, and that's when they decided to be a bit more like really tricky and kind of like let's just be smart about reusing the things that other animes of the time would do. And so they
But
had
it's
mainly the
it's not
editing.
anything you'd notice. But if if it's sort of like blended in quite well,
Mhm.
you know.
Mm.
Yeah, they overall they did a great seamless job, I think. But unless you really looked for it, you won't notice the drop. But it's mainly because of like the more cuts there are in the film, the more frames you need to animate. So that's what took the time. And there's obviously more frames and more scenes means more animators and
I
more
wonder
people.
how many went into that little sequence where Liam Neeson's trying to jump the fence.
How many people animated Liam Neeson? I mean, like, it's unless he's a corpse and they have to use him like a sticks, like weekends of burning him. I don't know.
No, there's a bit in Taken 3 where he
I know
he
exactly what it is, but I can only imagine that. Yeah, no, I was being silly. But yeah, it's the I think I remember where it was for like where they saved the animation. It's when they did the big cityscape sort of like views, because essentially looking at it, there's like when they're riding along on like the motorway, there's like the lamppost pass by. It's the same lamppost, obviously, but it's because of but like on the cityscapes, essentially it's not technically moving. They're like animated stills, but they're just shifting along.
But
And like
isn't that the old technique that Walt Disney sort of innovated, where like everything's kind of on like a moving plate?
Exactly, yeah. They said that everything had like I think the most they had was like 8 cells at once for certain things. So like one cell per thing that was moving. So you had the main character, then you have the immediate foreground, and then a little bit of the background, and then the far background of like the city, and then the sky. So you have all those things in conjunction moving every frame slightly. Like
Yeah.
you could use the lamppost once it goes out the shot. You can use the next one, put it around, and then put it around again. So that's smart because it's the same. It's technical drawings, which would technically be the same anyway. So unless you've got something that's drastically different, then they would need to replace it entirely.
Yeah, which is
That's very smart.
which I think is like great budget saving like animation tricks. I mean, like when you first watch it, you don't notice it, but because we like have a little like behind the scenes know-how about it, when you watch it like again, you go, "Oh right, yeah, I can see. Yeah, I see where it happens. Yeah," and you just notice it because you watched it multiple times.
If you've got the proper good, you see it in HD, and you can spot these things when you pause things a bit more, and you go, "Oh yeah, I can see what they did there." Obviously, when you're watching it first time in the movie theater, these things miss you, and you don't see it. But it's smart, and only really the filmmakers were like, "Yeah, I did that. Yes, I did that for the cheap."
Yes,
But
save
another
me 50,000 yen there, easy.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention when you're talking about how expressive the characters were, which I felt was so interesting, because in the making of behind the scenes of Akira, compared to something like Dragon Ball, I know Pat mentioned that it was how they did Dragon Ball was great in of itself back then. But Akira took it one step further because like animes made for TV back in the 80s and some of them in the 90s as well were doing it for like 12 to 8 frames per second. Whereas Akira was one of the first, if not the very first, that did 24 frames per second, just like a real motion picture. And that's why it looks realistic. And every expression's a bit more detailed and sometimes a bit more exaggerated, but it's more like it isn't just characters moving their mouths up and down, or there's no jantiness on like quick cuts, and everyone seems to be like puppets. But it's so much more fluid because everything's a bit more like precise. That's why the human movement is so realistic as well, because they've got more frames to show every little bit.
Yeah, that's
On
pretty
on
cool.
a on a side note, it also reminds me of like something I like about Into the Spider-Verse, or yeah, the first kind of film they did. What was the first or the second one? Anyway,
Frames on that.
yeah, because to make it seem like Miles Morales and the older Spider-Man were out of sync, they had different frame rates for each of the characters
Yeah.
that they were animated. And then the closer they got in sync, the closer they got to the same number of frames
Yeah.
That's
they
cool.
were on the same number. It's just a cool technique. Yeah. They did a
Yeah, I
lot
don't
of
know
cool
how
stuff
they
in that film.
managed to figure out how to film or animate that. Even with computers, that's still quite mind-boggling.
Mm.
And obviously, Akira, when this was made, they did that without any aid of computer at all. And there's only some CGI in this film at all. I think it's the scene where the scientist is looking at he's doing the experiments with what do you call it, that weird purple shimmery thing. That's the only type of CGI animation in it.
You mean like the holographic, like Northern Light machine, right?
Yeah, the Northern Light Machine. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what that is,
I don't
but
know
I
what's
want
called.
that as like I want that as a music box. That looks so fucking awesome. Just like you just be like you just kind of want to go to sleep. You just turn that up, and just flashes and like, yeah, okay, sleep time. It's just like, it'll be an awesome music box. And oh wait, has Pat gone alternate screen? What's what?
No, I'm lying down, like I'm struggling to stay awake, sat up. So
Oh, okay.
I'm just sort of just listening to you guys.
Do you have any like things you want to talk about this film, Pat, or just to keep you like awake?
To be honest with you, most of my watching was very surface level. I was more invested in the animation, so I needed another watch, but I've not really had the time all week, so I'm happy just listening for the time being.
How did you like the animations? Because
I fucking loved it, mate.
that's all we need. You know.
Yeah.
Was it
You wanted to cut it up and snip it.
was it
I
better
think
than, was it? I was gonna say, was it better than Dragon Ball or not?
I mean, let's not go that far.
Okay, fucking all right, Jesus, all right.
I really liked it, but I think where I was so super focused on the sort of the setup of the world and the animation, I sort of bits of the story didn't stick. But I know a second watch where I'm more focused on that, I think it'll stick really well. If you get what I mean.
Mm.
But this has come from a week where I've fallen asleep during Furiosa and went to bed early last night because I couldn't stay awake. So I'm having a very old man week.
Oh,
man.
I thought you fell
Yeah, I
fell
still
asleep.
haven't seen that film.
I thought you said it was
I gotta
boring.
watch
That's why you fell asleep.
No. It's not boring. It's just I can't stay awake. 35
Okay.
is too far.
I know I haven't watched it, so I can't say anything about it. I just heard that it's not doing good in the box office currently.
That's because nobody wants to go to cinema anymore because of fucking Netflix. Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus are all to blame for tanking numbers in the box office.
That being said, I haven't been to the cinema for a very long while, so it might be that as well.
Case in point.
Like,
You're to blame. God
yeah,
damn.
but
Going Simon.
I mean, I can't help it. It's more convenient to watch it at home, especially if it's got fucking like other country subtitles, and I don't need to explain to my mum every time she wants to watch it. And what did they say? Well, all right. So the point of this plot is this. I don't need to watch the movie first before I have to explain it to her. Second time I have to watch it again.
Another thing, I think the window between cinema and the video on demand is so little now. It's like 30 days. Most people are just happy to just wait for that now. That's the sad truth.
I reckon it should go back to 6 months.
To be honest, I'm kind of happy with it like being like this, because if people can watch things at home where they can like happily have any conversation that they want, it means that they're not having
Stay
a
the fuck
conversation
away from
behind
me.
me.
If it encourages the people that aren't cinema fans like us to stay at home, then great. I think that Hollywood needs to adapt and lower the budgets of these big blockbusters, and then they won't have much as a loss. That's my reasoning for it. It's just lower the budgets. They don't have to be 200 million per film. That's mental.
But without making it sound, it's like you're having a bias, Ben. That sounds like you want a mini series. I don't know if that's a bias that you have. I don't know. It's just like that sounds like you want a mini series. Oh yeah, that is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Damn it,
Probably
Ben.
I'm going to cinema because Ben wants a mini-series.
Yeah.
Martin
Yeah.
Scorsese's gonna be under your bed tonight.
Well, or you could have like.
Cinema.
Well, it's not that. It's just like you can have films which are gonna be. Well, what was the film that Alex talking about before? Oh, it's gonna be Rebel Moons, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. It's gonna be like that, and it's gonna be like, do you want that in a film? Oh, I mean, like you could. I just like I don't know. I haven't watched Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon might be a bit more like palatable if he did cut it into a miniseries. No one wants to sit through half hours.
It would not. It would not be more palatable with more of it.
You
It's
didn't
just
say
This
it
is
like
the
you were
thing,
going
though.
to canvassing for votes, Ben.
Yes. Miniseries
maybe.
for long films. But certain films I think need to be long. Don't get me wrong. But I just like
Nice.
I like
And that's
Right.
your slogan.
I do
It's
like
the
the
problem.
idea of intermissions for really long films though. Bring them
This is
back.
the problem with sort of streaming places, because I feel like it's the same with gaming as well. It's like where it's sort of easy to watch or play it games at home like really cheap. The quality has taken a massive dip, and I see that in films and gaming. Like
Example.
You've got Netflix, and I'll be honest, most of the movies on Netflix have been garbage. But it's the same on things like Game Pass. Like you're like, oh sweet, we've got all these games for like £12 a month, but you're probably looking at about one game a month that's worth playing. And the rest are just like quickly rushed out crap.
Yeah,
And I
but
think-
like without tooting like PlayStation's on, didn't they just announce what was it called, like PlayStation Pass, where you can now play on your PS5, PS2 games, like
Yeah, that's been out for a while, to be fair.
yeah, but like with that, I feel like if you could play original God of War until God of War Ragnarok or Valhalla now, I guess, and like you could play it all at once, I think people will be really into that. I don't know how, I know there are people who are really into that, but it's just like, yeah, I feel like
got a problem with. Like, if it gives people an option to access libraries of like stuff that have come out in the past, I'm all for that. But when you've got like new stuff dropping, now it's the same for films because like Scorsese's The Irishman dropped directly on Netflix. Actually, that's one of the rare occasions that the product was good because of who made it. But it's like if you're just dropping new stuff in because you know people will eat it up because it's cheap, but then they don't really put the effort into making it, so it just ends up being hot garbage.
And those films, like obviously Red Notice and stuff like that, is just they're kind of made to be casual watches anyway. They're not all they're the intention probably by the producers and the people who made them. Just if you can follow the film while you watch looking on your phone, that's kind of what their mantra was when they set to make those films out. So sadly, that part of it isn't great for those cheap films to. But some of them aren't cheap, which boggles my mind as well.
Yeah,
you're spending so much money for something that isn't as good as it could be. So but hopefully we get more films, as Rob will say, about from directors that are allowed to do whatever they like. Like say like Scorsese, for instance, or who else?
Zack Snyder, yeah.
Oh,
Zack
but
Ah,
yeah, Scorsese is a better example because he's kind of like he's allowed to do what he likes to a point, and he gets to make the film and put it out however he wants people to see it, even though ideally he wants more people in the cinema to see it. But if people aren't going to see a film like then the next best thing is Apple TV or something.
To be
Which
fair, like I do think, like in principle, it is good that Zack Snyder was able to do what he wanted because he's the filmmaker. So I think just on principle, him having creative control is the right thing. I do think though that somebody else should get that opportunity now. it's
there are other directors that deserve it as well. That's for sure. Like obviously, David Fincher is another one I was trying to say.
or instead.
Well, hasn't he released like 4 films on Netflix?
Who?
David Fincher.
No, Zack Snyder.
Oh, Zack Snyder.
Snyder's only done 3, I think.
Only
Oh no, he has done 4 to be fair, because he did 2. Is it Army of the Dead?
Oh yeah, the spin-off film, the Army of Thieves. That's
it. I really liked Army of the Dead, but everything else I thought I can live without. But that's my whole point of Netflix sort of, and this isn't me sort of firing shots at Netflix because I think they're trying their best to sort of give other options for films, but it's giving people too much creative control and it's allowing people to half-ass everything. And at the end of the day, it's going to kill cinema.
I wouldn't say there's any such thing as like too much creative control.
I mean,
I just wish other people were getting the opportunities.
Yeah.
There is
more independence.
I was going to say there is like things on Netflix that are a bit like too much, and I think the thing that is too much is when they do like the documentary series of anything, because well, it's not even just true crime ones. It could be fucking for anything, to be honest. It's kind of like I remember it because it was such a stupid name. It was called Money Shot, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Oh,
I know what this is.
Yeah, the backstory of Pornhub, and I was like, I don't. Okay, I guess, but it's like then you have films that are now in contention of like if they're true or not for like things like what was it called, Baby Reindeer, and like people have found that out, and it's just like I don't know if like this. I don't know where this is going because if anyone can like get Netflix to go, can I have some money to make us a little indie film? It'll be really cool.
That was kind of like the marketing of that has made it seem like Richard Gadd was like less established than he is, because they've made it sound like it's like, oh, it's just this guy who's never done anything and he's written a story of his life and he's starring as himself and it's really interesting because he's this normal bloke. but he's not. Like, he wrote an episode of Sex Education, and like he's had like a show that was on this huge theatre run. I think he won a Tony Award or something ridiculous like that. Like, so he's very established, but like, yeah, part of the marketing is to make it seem as if he's not.
So yeah, I guess that's like the good thing about their creative freedom. There now they have the freedom to do what or say what they want about like the film or what they do in the film. So it's because it's a hands-off approach. Whatever they make, you still need to put the Netflix label on it, and I don't know if Netflix should have a say in what they. I feel like Netflix should have watched the film first and have a bit more of like, I don't know if I really want to do this, and I want to continue giving you money. But then I realized that would become like Warner Brothers, and they could just like, even if the film is finished, they could just cancel it. But that's bad as well.
Yeah.
So that's for fuck. Either way, it's like either way, there's problems. But it's like, I guess Netflix is probably a little bit better.
To be honest, I think Netflix and Apple TV are probably like two of the most credible studios in the world at the minute. Like, cause they're like they're giving people so much creative control and so much money to like go and make their dream projects. Like, I don't really see a bad side to it. Like, the bad side is when somebody like Zack Snyder does it, but like, I mean, I don't think that's their fault. Like, I mean, I still
I'm
think,
gonna say somebody didn't see Rebel Moon Part 2 like me.
but that's what I'm saying though. Like, it's sort of, I mean, it's
Yeah,
like Zack Snyder's the reason that's not very good. Like, I mean, the fact that Netflix have given him loads of creative control and loads of money to make it isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, and they did it because he was a big name director they got under their wing, and well, he didn't want to work with any other studios anymore. That's the reason he's there. But
Yeah, like
that aside, I know you mean, because I think the big studios of old are kind of using old practices and measuring things with more old statistics, like cinema now versus cinema in like the 50s and 60s or the 80s, or like the peak time when cinema was at its best in terms of box office isn't like it is now. Even before the pandemic, it's so different now than it was then, and the studios aren't evolving from the times to kind of like adapt to what do people want to see, what will get people out the house to see this or that. It's whether or not the quality of the films is in contention with that, but it's also how they're advertised and how they're presented. What reason why you want to see this film in the cinema versus at home? And if the reasons aren't good enough, people are going to be like, no, I'll just wait. There's no point. So they have to be an incentive, they have to make more films that are more like big screen spectacular things, or they have to be kind of like more art housey ones that you'd have to see in a smaller cinema, more independent film that has a bit more class in how it's presented in the studio and cinema. Sorry, because I think the view Romford's and like especially Premier Romford isn't really going to survive because it's kind of just there's no prestigiousness there. Everyone the cinemas aren't really doing a good job when the people in the screen are just they seem to be rather being at home than they are in the cinema when they're just causing a palaver for everyone else. So that's why you have to spend more. But the trouble is, people won't want to spend more because if everyone's under the thumb with like high cost of living, people are like, no, it's not worth it. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
It's a real hard battle.
Do you know what? Like, I never thought I would quote Jerry Bruckheimer, but he said something that I thought was really interesting the other day. Right? So, have you seen like I interviewed the director of his new film the other day. So it's called Young Woman and the Sea.
The days.
It's about this. It's a true story. It's this woman I think she was like the first woman in history to swim the English Channel or something like that.
Couldn't close her mouth, could she?
Well, that's
But
yeah. So yes, it's this woman, and she was the first woman to swim the English Channel, and yeah,
that was a Daisy Ridley joke. That wasn't a misogyny joke, by the way.
I think it came out on Disney Plus the same time it came out in cinemas. And on like the press tour for it, like obviously everyone was asking him about like it coming out simultaneously, and he said that the way he sees it is that you've got a kitchen at home, but you still go out to restaurants. And I think that's the mindset that cinemas need to get in, because a lot of them are shit experiences. Like they're run down. There's chewing gum everywhere. They smell of piss. It's like chains just don't put the money into looking after them. Like the Odeon in Brighton is so terrible, man. It's like sitting in a car park. Like you
and that's
compare the Odeon in Brighton to the ones in Leicester Square, like they're completely like it's just a like it's not a comparable experience. If the one in Brighton was like the one in Leicester Square, I'd happily travel to Brighton to go to the cinema.
But it is an Odeon Lux, admittedly. It's got a bit more
That's
expensive.
what I mean, though. I think they should all be Odeon Luxes.
Yeah,
Like, that's
they
the
put
kind
the
of thing
Odeon
that
brand.
gets
It's the
people back into
Odeon.
cinemas. Like it's an experience that you can't have at home, rather than just a shit one.
That's
So
the
our
thing.
Odeon's quite nice.
What?
The worst thing about our Odeon is the people.
As it should
Because
be.
yeah, well, yeah. When we were in Furiosa the other day, someone was on his phone, like just having a chat, and I was like, "Are you fucking real?"
What a cunt. Really?
Oh,
That's what I mean. Like with the
Wow.
whole thing of like things being on streaming at the same time as in cinemas, like I'm totally fine with that, because if you're the kind of person who wants to watch it while you're sitting on your phone, fine, do that at home.
Yeah, if it does get those people to stay at home, great. That's what I hope would happen. But obviously, in Alex's instance, there's still people that still spend their own hard-earned money just to make things all good for everyone else. I just don't understand that mindset.
I always remember when we went to see Nope, and it wasn't when me and you went, Ben. I think it was when me and Rachel went. And there was somebody who was like, she filmed like the opening credits where it said like written and directed by Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
And then I think she was like a fight nearly broke out. I think she was like on the phone or something, or like maybe she had her phone out and somebody told her to put it away or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know, like that's a really weird thing for me as well. Like sort of going to the cinema to post it on Instagram, I assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the kind of thing I mean. Like if it's on sort of streaming at the same time, it's less of an event for those people who couldn't really care less about it.
Yeah. It's a shame. I think, obviously, I think that's how it's going to change, is that films that are a bit more arty will still go to the smaller cinemas like the Pitch Houses and all the small everyman cinemas, and the proper cinephiles will go out and see them in small numbers. They'll just about survive if like the cinemas are, if the experience of going is kept to a really high standard. I think that's the key of keeping cinema alive and well. And then you have the big blockbusters or the big, huge, gigantic Marvel, Star Wars type movies for the masses that will get people out in droves to them, or do like crazy phenomenons like Barbenheimer. Something like that has to happen every other year for Hollywood to like continue. So that's the thing. You've got those two different types of big audience pillars. So it can survive, but yeah, it's just we're on a turning point.
Yeah.
I think.
Or you could be like in this movie and have people take drugs and hallucinate about giant teddy bears full of cum, as Alec used to say. It was milk, but I remember you put in the chat it was cum, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I saw it and I was like, "Oh right, I see why he said that." And unfortunately, I saw yeah, just teddy bears full of cum, and it's just like, oh no, it's just like seeing that. I was like, oh, he drops into the milk, and he goes, "Oh, it's actually just milk."
I had to put that subtitle up. And, oh, what is this, milk?
Oh, it's milk.
Thank God.
Of when they censored Dragon Ball from all the blood, they turned it from red to white.
Yeah,
it looked worse.
Yeah, way worse.
Especially when they're Super Saiyan.
His face. After an intense fight with Frieza.
It's got a line of milk coming out. Anyway. Yeah.
Especially there's this one scene in the Freezer stuff where Freezer licks the blood. So when it's changed from red to white, it looks even worse.
Oh, god damn it! It's terrible.
To make answering does.
But going back to the anime and things that have get inspired by the anime, there is that scene where he is escaping from his room again somehow without any armed guards, or it took the one doctor go, oh no, it's Tessino's room again. We better send someone with a gun just in case. And it's like, he escapes and he just murders the guard, Darth Vader style, and just throws up into the ceiling. And it's just like he's just running and he's walking through the hallway. I realized that's part of that inspired the Daft Punk song of "Stronger" with Kanye West, and I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly the same scene. It's just like, oh, this film has inspired a lot more things other than just the bike slide. But I see where all that comes together now. It makes sense. And I think I've upset Pat because he's disappeared when I said Kanye West.
Still here. I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's this film has inspired a lot of other films, and I feel like it's inspired a lot of other people to watch anime as well. This and Blade Runner. I mean, this and Ghost in the Shell, which led to Blade Runner. But like, yeah, he's celebrating with us. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like your mic is on. Nick. Is this mic? No, I can't hear.
I think sunk it out.
Oh, good.
I can't hear him either.
Yeah. Good. I mean, if we were doing a bit and you screamed at your mic, we would have known. But it's like, in any case, because we've been talking about different cinemas and stuff. I wonder if they had holographic cinema in this universe, because they had like holographic billboards and stuff. If they had holographic cinema, I think that would be like, it'd be like the Back to the Future where they had like Jaws 6 or something in 3D, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool to watch. It's just like, seeing how like technology has changed compared to what it is now. It is interesting to seeing how they have like I would like to say floating cars, or like what are those like little gun little, I don't know, like hovercrafts, I guess is the best way to describe it, with the guns that they have. And they have actual beam weapons. They actually have laser beam weapons.
Oh yeah, true.
And that's just like, why did you not bring out laser beam weapons earlier? Maybe it was like a military secret, but like they could have brought out the laser beam weapons earlier to take down Destino. I think it would have been generally a bit more successful. But no, it's like, it just didn't happen. And that's a no. Ben, I think it's just us two now. Everyone else is. Oh, and
that's what you get.
No, I'm still here.
I'm also still here.
So far.
That's the problem.
The manual's like spazzing out. Oh, yeah.
I think I can hear Rob.
Rob is about. I can see a shadow.
Oh, it's like that time that I could hear him talking.
Oh yeah,
I can hear him talking.
Yeah, his screen just flashes green, just enough.
He's gonna come in and go, Akira!
I see.
But maybe it has reached that point where we should ask what everyone's favorite scene is.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, my favorite scene was the flashback with how Tetsuo and Canada met.
That was good.
Yeah, I was I mentioned earlier, but I wasn't completely sure on his character like at that point, and that one sort of a little instance just kind of made him make sense to me. Like, yeah, he's probably not that bright, but doesn't like bullies and is always trying to like look out for people and all that. And yeah, I think that's what just like cemented him for me. Just like, oh, I get these two now. I understand what their relationship is. So yeah, that's my favorite scene. Well, it looks like we one of you two.
Probably mine would be. Well, it probably is the teddy bear sequence. Actually, the hallucination sequence where he's in the hospital bed and he's just hallucinating the toys coming to life. I thought that was really inventive, and how
Eddie Cumbin.
yeah, and how it kind of plays on his imagination. He's like questioning reality and there's elements of like reality in there, which is really fascinating. And the blurring of the lines, which I felt was really brilliantly done.
Mine was the constant mentioning of the same two names.
Which two?
Oh, you got me now.
Brilliant.
I just Ali flashbacks from Interstellar. I was like, how's he complaining about this?
I don't even know what you're referring to.
Give me 1 sec. I'm just going through the casts.
Do you mean Akira himself, or do you mean Tetsuno?
Do you know what that was the best payoff since Alec picked a film specifically to challenge John's stance on chapter cards, and John couldn't remember what he said about them.
Fuck.
I hated how much that they repeated those names, even though I can't remember what those names are.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I'm surprised you didn't.
I genuinely don't know what you're referring
to. Canada and Tetsuo. There was a 20-minute period where I think I heard both their names about 150 times.
They were fighting with psychic powers and guns.
Did you tally how many they said it? Because
no, I'm putting a rough estimate. It
was less than Mirth then.
Because I honestly thought you meant Akira's name himself, because there is it's one of my scenes as well where he first gets his like weird like flashback powers where it's like Akira, and it's like it flashes like jumps, it flashes forward where he becomes this eldritch monster thing, but it also flashes back quickly to when he was meeting Canada at the water fountain when they were like in the orphanage. And I was like, all right, it already predicted what would have happened. There's actually, if you was to do, because I was being extra like annoying, I pressed like freeze frame. Okay, 1 second, pause. All right, yeah, this is where Kari gets fucking crushed into like that paste, and freeze for 1 second. Goes, all right, yeah, this is where like you see him become like the weird eldritch metal flesh machine, which is actually like my other favorite scene because I remember it so vividly as a kid when I watched this when I was way too young to watch this. I was like, "Fuck, this is what Akira was about. It's just pure gross monster blood machine thing," and it's just like that's the thing that stuck to me since like forever.
I gotta say, Kari had a bit of a rough go of it. I think this film. I I'm struggling to think of someone who had like a shitter time. Just like a fella
Yeah.
a fella wasn't doing so hot, and then
To be honest,
she got on a
even the
bike.
bit where like she's being beaten up and Tetsuro's just like, "Oh, if you touch my motorbike, I'll kill you." I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I've already
Cool.
done worse.
Yeah. Because she was kind of forgotten about technically after that.
A lot of the ladies, a lot of females in the movie were treated quite shitly, to be honest. Even when Canada has his like, all the girls from this high school are like, are flirting with him. He's like, "Fuck off, bitch." It's like, pretty much that's what he said. It's like, "Fuck off, I ain't got time with you." But then after he chases after Kay, because he's like, "Hey, oh no, I mean, like, you killed a guy. It's fine. Just like, I mean, you go to jail. I'll wait for you. Don't worry. I mean, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. It'll be sweet." And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And it's just like, it's just, it's just totally shit. Yeah, the ladies in this film aren't treated that well at all, unless you're the psychic girl who everyone has to protect, because that's about it. I don't even remember her name.
Protect her with your life, but don't listen to her under any circumstances. Just disregard things she tells you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is what happened as well. Yeah. Poor lasses. No.
Oh, I do want to give an honourable mention. Actually, it's when Tetsuo sort of is discovering his powers. I thought that was pretty neat. Like when he goes to reach for the glass of water, but he's not got his eyes open, and it just sort of like zooms across the desk. And I was like, Valet doesn't really pick it up, and I was like, that's kind of cool because I think he's like expecting it to be there, so he doesn't notice that it moved on its own. And I thought that's a cool way to show that.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys! We need a bit of fucking energy today. Let's do it. No more golf. No more virtual putting games. It just tires everybody out.
What? How comes you're off screen as well?
He's naked.
That'll do.
Yeah.
He's thinking,
That'll also do.
Okay. Pat, Emmanuel, what was your favourite scene?
I really like the opening sequence. That sort of really set the scene for me.
It is
But
nice, isn't
I will give you a better choice once I've watched it the second time.
Fair enough. But that opening
Get on
scene
it.
is.
it?
What was that?
But that,
I said, get on it.
It won't be tonight, will it?
Well, I don't know with that attitude.
yeah, but admittedly speaking, that scene already is like nuclear explosion sets everything up, because it's a big fucking. Oh, it's not a mushroom cloud. It's just a implosion, I guess. Boom. Yeah, big boom. Once the big boom happens, everyone goes, "Oh, okay, better pay attention now." I feel like that always sets the story for what should be. Now, it's a manual on Aussie of Aussie. Emmanuel, what do you love about Akira? Nope, he's not in. Okay. This is.
No, we can't hear you.
He's talking.
No, we can't hear. Yeah. Okay. Whoops.
F this.
What about that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I'm trying to talk for like a long while, and I was like, this makes sense that no one can hear me. Like, said it was unstable. I had to turn off people's videos and all sorts of stuff, and it still wasn't working. I can hear you, but obviously you can't hear me.
Oh.
Okay, we can hear you now for sure.
One of the things I was asking, did any of the kids have powers to see the future?
Yeah, the girl, yeah.
Yeah, because it would make sense that obviously Tetsuo when he was awakening his powers was getting glimpses of the future because he's awakening like Akira like powers, which is obviously just next level. Um, um, some of my favorite scenes, like I'm not sure if I could pick a favorite one yet, but like anything that has the soundtrack, like my favorite part of the soundtrack, that's on the opening scene with the bikes. It's like Hashi, ooh, Hashi, Hashi. I know, I I across the years, like I listen to that every once in a while. Just again, it's just because such a great soundtrack.
I
But that's my
have got to
favorite
agree because the soundtrack is so much better than Ghost in the Shell.
track.
Ghost in the Shell got on my fucking tits. This actually
I could,
feels like it's got a little bit of style to it, a little bit of personality. It's not just like a bunch of people going. Shut up.
oh man, I be saying that Ghost. You wouldn't have seen it, but I think my favorite part in the kind of series of Ghost of the Shell is Ghost of the Shell 2. They make some hauntingly just creepy like soundtrack for parts, and it's just like this is unsettling, but it's great. Anyway, but yeah, Akira soundtrack, awesome. So yeah, anything that has that track, I'm just like I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Um, but there's a lot of scenes I like. It's hard to pick favorites. Like the animation, I'm just a really big fan of. Like in general, there's parts where they're zooming through the halls, the explosions, when they're kind of flying through the air, or you have like the cat like Tetsuo like flying and all sorts of stuff. The scene where he goes to space and like I had posted in the chat. At the time you didn't have many. I mean, you had things that did do with this, but it's one of the few kind of I guess you could say big movies that they go to space and they try to accurately represent how you can't really hear anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other things that was doing that that did that as well, but there wasn't many. So it was nice to see. It's just yeah, just a lot of cool stuff, and yeah, how everything develops. So or you have the scene. Oh, it's just it's hard to pick because even the bikes in the beginning, which I've already said. Some of the when Canada and I think K were going through like the tunnels and stuff and the kind of hovering kind of what was that thing? Hovering vehicle of some sort?
A helicopter.
In the thing that like the guards who are very inept at their
Yeah,
job are riding, yeah, it's like
yeah,
there's a little hovercraft thing. I don't even know what
yeah.
it is.
It's just like yeah, I like liked a lot of it. So yeah, at the moment it's hard to pick a favorite scene, but I do think so far it's probably similar to the opening sequence. It's just it kind of pumps me and gets me ready for the rest of the film. I think that also inspired me to make that music video I did.
Mm.
Kind of like seeing those boxies, it was just like, this is good. And the fact that it was animated back then, like, I think Akira in general kind of set the bar too high for me. So after I watched Akira, which was quite early on, and I guess like my anime watching days or whatnot, if I went to anything else and it wasn't like anywhere near, it was just like, okay then. It's kind of like it's hard because obviously they put so much effort into that, and obviously you have like a lot of films and some animations that have that level of effort and detail in it, but that's not the norm. and it still unfortunately isn't the norm, or it doesn't even come close to the norm in modern animations because obviously you still have a lot of they don't get paid enough. There's not enough time. There's not enough of them, and they're doing their utmost best. But yeah, they can't animate enough. So you're still not often that you will get things of that quality on in TV series form, um, which is a shame. I mean, you still get some animations. I don't I barely watched any of it, but there's one that was a big manga, Fairy Tale. The amount of shortcuts they took in that it was I could not watch it. It was so bad. And I was just like, why are there still animes being made like this? Like I, they really are like not putting enough people and paying enough people to really do this. Yeah, it's such a shame. But anyway, I digress.
So, Rob, what's your favorite scene?
I would probably go. Probably
All right.
like
See you later.
Hmm?
I
I don't know what you said.
said, all right. See you later.
Oh. Yeah, I'd probably go back to what I was saying earlier about like it being like an artist's frame of reference from somebody who's been through like all this stuff that's unimaginable to me, and I'd probably say that my favourite scene because of that is Tetsuo's first nightmare, because that's like, yeah, it's pretty disturbing when you think about like where that might have come from in terms of like what would have inspired it, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think that whole sequence is really cool.
It would be quite unsettling to find your teddy bear full of cum.
It would. It would. Especially if you didn't know how it had got there.
Why is he
Or
so?
maybe more if you did know, I don't know.
Why is he so crispy and smelling of grape?
Of grapes.
What?
Oh no! I've just doubted myself. Ignore that.
Okay, dude.
Everyone develop amnesia and forget I said that.
I guess not really related to that, but you were talking about the animators, Rob.
Hmm.
It reminded me of the thing. One of the things I pasted in the chat of how one of the animators was just like, "Geez, why do I have to draw this? Just put that in the shot." And it's just like that's too funny. It's like whoever checked it either didn't care. It was just like, you know what? Yes, I agree. And it just got past everyone.
Sorry, have you still got the quote to hand, or do you want me to read it out?
uh, you can read it out. I don't mind. Or actually, it would make sense if I read it. But it was
Yeah, I wasn't gonna try and butcher the Japanese.
at the be honest, we don't need to read the Japanese. It's like I feel like only I wouldn't like know what it's saying. But yeah, why do I even have to draw this part? Give me a break. Jeez. It's just like that's just peak. Just you know what? I'm gonna put this in here because I'm pissed. I'm tired. I don't get paid enough to do this crap. And for an animator to actually say that, and that's part of animation. Like it, I mean, it's one of the biggest reasons I I love drawing and illustration and whatnot, but I could never do animation. Like, give me cover art or concept art or things any day, design, but not the animation. I'm sorry. That in game development, I do not have the patience to sit there for hours every day, and all I've done is like 20 seconds. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to be so
It's
patient.
oh man, like watching. Like I respect it because sometimes like I'll watch. Obviously, Alec does a little bit, and I think you have the glove on, don't you, at the moment? The for your tablet. Oh, you took it off.
I did.
Okay. But like I was watching someone else like just like try doing some stuff like live, and I was just like, as cool as it is, as much as I respect it, yeah, not me. I couldn't. I just, especially with the amount of detail that I like to include, like to just do 1 minute, it would probably take me a whole year or something silly if I was doing something by myself, like a solo kind
Yeah,
of
I can't imagine doing something by hand anymore. That's
yeah.
bonkers.
That's bad. Yeah, but obviously you still get it to an extent. But yeah, it's just man. But anyway, yeah.
Any more favorite scenes, special mentions, or topics of interest?
That was quite comprehensive.
Thanks. Is there a carbon monoxide leak in this call? What's going on?
I mean, it's one of my favorite. Yeah, one of my favorite all-time anime films.
Yeah,
Animations, point blank.
I must admit, like I think the problem this week is that we all kind of we're all kind of like on a similar level with it.
Yeah, it's good.
We're not really in
It's
opposition.
good.
I failed you.
Oh, so what someone needs to do next, or maybe I need to like pick something controversial eventually when it comes to my next pick. And then
Wait,
gets talking.
I mean, that's why I didn't want to pick. Well, that's why I didn't want to go this week because I feel like having two like anime-ish films in a row is gonna be too much for everyone. If everyone agrees, and it's not like push comes to shove for conversation. And it's like, so
I feel
wait,
so bad. You chose an anime Blade Runner inspired dystopia, and I ended up quite liking it.
I even found one from the fucking 80s, and
From the 80s as well.
you've agreed with me. How could you?
Oh, here's the 80 films I really like. I mean,
No.
it's not from. It probably helps that it's not from America. So.
Actually, that is a question I need to ask you. Like, would you put like this film in the timeline closer to like 1980s, or would you put it at 2019? Because it is like the time period of spanning is like
Oh
in
yeah.
between.
There's two timelines. I've got
Oh,
one for when it's set and one for when it was released.
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, cool.
You can find my timeline page on the spreadsheet if you search for it.
Oh, I didn't know you updated it already. Oh, okay, I'll check it in a second.
in time.
Nice.
I update every Sunday
Nice.
morning. It just, yeah, really makes my week.
Wait,
It takes
I,
fucking
actually,
hours.
that is actually a question I forgot to ask you guys. Did you watch it in Japanese or English?
Oh,
I watched it on the dodgy link you sent me.
You watched it on Crunchyroll on Amazon, right?
Yes, Crunchy
Yeah,
Amazon.
that was the dub one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. I actually did that because you
And
get a
then
free trial.
I did think it was a weird creative choice to have some bloke like right at the end going like, hey you with the beard, come here, give me your credit card. I thought it was just so strange. I didn't understand, but you know, these
No,
animes.
the only reason I ask is because like was there any like recurring voice actors that you might have saw?
Oh, you know what? I did such a bad move going like just go when Pat did his double bill. I was coming back from Rob's and I was like, I can't face doing two lots of recurring actors now. and then he picked Akira, and so I had 3 lots of actors as well as Pat's 2 double. Yeah, so I had like about 5 bunches of actors to go through on the same day, and I was like, I wanted to die.
Simon, to answer your question, he chose to put 2019 for that particular timeline, like when it's set.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just looking at the timeline now, and I've kind of, I don't know, man. Like, if this timeline was like a legitimate history of the world, I kind of doomed us, man, because you've got Akira 3 years after arrival.
Oh wow, fuck that explains a lot.
You've got the what?
Akira 3 years after arrival.
Yeah.
And then,
Private aliens came.
fucking hell, and then 10 years after Akira, you've got Terminator 2.
I mean, and then somehow you get Ghost of the Shell,
And
Snowpiercer.
in between Akira and Terminator 2, you got V for Vendetta. Fucking hell, we've been through it all.
Yeah, just everything all over the world, just everywhere, everything all at once.
Oh, you're muted, Ben.
Oh yeah, I was just saying. Oh, so Akira's was happening in Japan. Some tours were happening in the United States, and V for Vendetta was happening in Great Britain.
Yeah,
No
Blade
wonder,
Runner was going
no
on.
wonder Snowpiercer happened a few years after.
Just train around the world.
You can see
And
why
then
like, the United Nations just went, fuck this, build a train.
yeah,
Build a train will be on that. Hopefully, no one mental and stupid gets in charge of it.
Nothing can
Oh.
catch us if we just don't stop moving.
After Snowpiercer, you get The Martian, RoboCop, Ready Player One, Sunshine. So basically, the sun is just like is dying. Interstellar, they just like we're actually giving up on the sun because they,
Oh my
they they
God.
tried, but it didn't really work. So we're going to move planet, and
That's
everyone who's
insane,
left
man.
on the planet, dread is happening. And then afterwards, when they've given up on the planet, you've got Alien.
Oh no! Yeah, which is already happening on other planets as well.
That's actually insane that Interstellar happened 10 years after Sunshine. Like, 10 years after they fucking went to the sun. You had Michael Caine going, I'll fucking do it again.
Oh man! And then you get the Matrix. So most people have given up on reality, and they're fighting over Zion. And then you've got Wally. They've just fully left.
Yeah,
It's,
completely destroyed.
it's all because of that Mirth and her corn and everything else. Everything just changed every time.
All because Murph left a fucking window open.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh,
so
man.
interesting.
All right.
Do you know what actually?
This is what happens, Murph. Close your fucking window.
Do you know what is actually really fascinating about this? Though is like when you see it laid out like this, you can see that like as a species, the further we look into the future, the more we go, we're just gonna fuck this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still haven't learned a thing. That's
Hey,
the
this
trouble.
Wally ends optimistically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next to a fucking robot.
Yeah, that's an AI sorts us out, ironically.
The only
Yeah.
good that
I-
happens in
I'm
the future is
unpicking
like nothing to do with us.
Have we picked any futuristic films that are completely not dystopian, as in
Literally,
positive?
the most hopeful thing, according to Film Club, that happens in the future is that Matt Damon works out how to grow potatoes on Mars.
Oh yeah, of course, that's
Other
the only
than
one.
that, we're hopeless.
Oh, another me.
What year was
I
the
mean,
Martian
Fifth
set?
Element isn't too bad, I guess.
The Martian's so optimistic, though. That's got people working together. That's
Yeah.
got loads of nations, like, uniting over getting this bloke home. This is so optimistic.
Yeah.
Love the
You know,
Martian.
But then afterwards, they gave up on Mars, so.
yeah.
This is insane.
And then you got people like the Dark Star in space. They have no hope. It's like they're chasing rubber chickens around.
To be fair though, like if you look at like what preceded all of this, you can see why we gave up on humanity. Because you've got bloody About Time, Ex Machina.
It's all Domhnall Gleeson's fault.
Yeah,
You can see why the humans of the future went, well, we might as well fuck about. Like we haven't got much to stay for.
Not while Domhnall Gleeson's here, that bloody ginge.
Oh, man, that's fascinating.
Sorry, but
That's funny though. Just seeing the timeline of it. It's great.
well, I'm glad we all enjoyed
Thanks.
Even that though, like this is brilliant. Like, so you've got Get Out, Baby Driver, Oh no, sorry, ignore Baby Driver. You've got Get Out, Shoplifters, Capernaum, Blind Spotting, Parasite. Fuck it, Akira.
Oh fucking hell! That's yeah. That explains everything.
Yeah.
After Cape Town, everyone's like, "All right, fuck this shit. This is too depressing."
Too much misery
Nuke
in
it.
the world. Nuke Tokyo.
Damn you, Middle East.
Holy fucking
Take
hell!
that,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ!
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just started to take a turn for the worse. You see.
That's great. The
makes
Middle
so
East
much
got so
sense.
depressing that everyone nuked Tokyo.
Fucking
All
hell.
right.
2016 was a rough year. Train to Busan, The Fundamentals of Caring, Shin Godzilla.
And then the aliens arrived.
Well, that's so rough, isn't it? Just kind of like the zombies in Korea. Japan's getting like absolutely fucked by Godzilla, and then Paul Rudd's going like, "My wife left me."
They deserved the rival.
God damn it, Paul Rudd. The world's bigger than your
man.
problems.
Oh man. Fucking
All right.
hell.
No
At the
wonder
same time, hacking
the
was going
person's
on,
like,
Inception was.
I was gonna say, no wonder he said he doesn't feel at home in this world anymore. With everything that was going on. Oh
This
man.
is amazing.
Humanity.
Well, this
We're
has
fucking
been
doomed.
very gratifying. I'm glad that all my checking out the release dates and shit has paid off.
This is super interesting, man. This is well worth doing.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
like
man.
how I like how like the list is warmer at the top and colder at the bottom because Ben and Humphrey and Pat all picked like older stuff, but then as you get down the list, you can see Emmanuel and me picking like, more recent stuff.
To
That's
be fair,
cool.
like if you look at it as a timeline, like the furthest in the past I've gone is Harakiri, and the furthest in the future I've gone is Dark Star, and I love that as a contrast.
Oh, poor Harakiri
Oh,
having to
man.
be in the same sentence as Darkstar.
Oh man. Wait, who? What's that? I'm trying to figure out. Wait, who picked the child? The child of the Chicago 7?
Me,
Yeah.
twice in blue.
Yeah. I was like, that would make sense. Yeah, agree with the total. I couldn't. It's because I'm on the phone. I can't really see much. It's kind of hard to make out some stuff.
Fuck me.
Could you imagine making Harakiri and then going like, I wonder what films of the future will look like, and then you just hard cut to Darkstar, and you go,
It might pass.
hmm.
Kind of
You know what?
strange.
Now I've seen this timeline laid out like this, I can see why the 80s would have been a rough time to live through. Because you had The Thing, E.T., Poltergeist, Terminator, Gremlins, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure all happening at the same time as Forrest Gump.
Oh.
Oh man.
It's amazing.
don't
He
know.
avoided it all.
Yeah, A Werewolf in London, Clockwork Orange, The Evil Dead. I mean, you've got Let the Right One In.
There's a concept
You've
here.
got
We've got to turn this list into something because we could make such an interesting story out of this.
Yeah, but I mean, like, unless we
Got
start picking like
vampires,
overly happy
wolves.
films, it's like not gonna happen, right? Like we're gonna unless we've got to find a way to even out these films.
Oh man, but seriously, you got werewolves, vampires, you've got the aliens, the dead, you've got you've got ghosts, you've got and you've got killer robots. Man,
And how did that?
how did that?
It does kind of
Literally.
it does take away the credibility of some of it though, because when you think of it in the context of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind was going on at the same time as Sorcerer, and then you've also got Boogie Nights happening at the same time. It's like, well, maybe your problems weren't so big.
I mean, people were dancing the night away, even with war right there. So, people got to get that entertainment.
Even like holy shit, like you've got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Exorcist happening at the same time, and then Jaws happens a year later, and then The Omen happens, and then Close Encounters of the Third Kind happens, and then all of a sudden Blues Brothers. It's like no
They
wonder
would.
things were so weird that they were chasing Nazis across Western America.
The Blues Brothers thought, you know what, we need some comic relief. It's like, yeah, you got the Shining and Clockwork Orange blowout. America, yeah, it's just, yeah, you needed help.
Even fucking The Birds and Halloween happening the same year as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's like, yeah, you probably would feel a bit uneasy in that kind of world.
Voluntarily go into the place. It's like, yep, you know what? Yeah, I've had enough of society. Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Fun times, fun times.
Oh no wonder The Fall and RRR happened around the same time.
What did?
The Fall and RRR.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a cursed era.
Like the 2000s are kind of bad as well. You've got like you have Requiem for a Dream, then you have How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So it's like I don't know how that works. It's like you're kind of like what?
Cool. Imagine getting to the end of a Requiem for a Dream and then finding out someone bastard stolen Christmas.
Holy shit, man. Yeah, the 2000 is rough because you got Requiem for a Dream, Holy Spider, Amores Perros. Like High Fidelity seems quite chipper among those.
I love all that.
Oh,
There's all those films happen, and in the middle is John Cusack going, "What fucking Ian guy?"
Oh, did you guys spot the really crazy bit?
Oh, which one?
2008, I Love Exposure, followed by Tokyo Gold Police, followed by Antichrist.
Oh,
now that's it.
that's what happens, man. If you start taking upskirt pictures without consent, that's where it goes. All right. You get a talking fox starts bothering you, and then someone cuts their clit off.
You know what's even more funnier? Is that after Antichrist is Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh man, all
Same year.
kinds of mutilation going on.
Oh yeah, a talking fox. But it's much better.
and then Vengeance, and then Mother.
Oh man,
Vengeance from my mother.
2003. You've got Old Boy, Matchstick Men, A Tale of Two Sisters, The Room, and Big Fish. If they were the stories that Edward Bloom was telling, that would be a very different film.
Yeah, and Big Fish is followed by Burrow versus Python.
It could have been one of the stories.
Starts having an argument, and he just goes, "Do you understand life?"
I'm like, man, the fact that and then he gets shocked by Lava Girl not too far after that.
Yeah, and then it leads on to The Wicker Man. Not
Holy
the
shit, man.
beast.
Even the 2010s. Like, imagine living in a world where The Skin I Live In happens, and then About Time, and then Ex Machina. Like, you'd be watching BBC News like, fuck me. Like, People are awful.
Where-
Why are we here?
Where did all these fucking weirdos sprout up from?
Oh man. Yeah. Cool times.
Yes, cool times. But now
Oh
it's
yeah,
time.
Is
Simon.
Pat still
Sorry,
away?
did you see my message about the film I was considering
Yeah, but like,
last week?
how are you? I don't know where you would be able to get that for anyone. Are you?
That's the way I was talking about.
Oh, I mean, I don't. I saw it. I saw it. I was like, oh, I think I've heard of it, but it's such an unless it's like in like a video vault somewhere. I don't think you can get it anywhere. Like, none of us could probably get it. Like it's the same thing that happened with City on Fire. It's probably one of the really rare films unless you buy the fucking physical DVD or VCD or what the fuck not. You probably
Yeah.
couldn't get it anywhere.
I'd have to figure out a way to kind of let everyone see it. But yeah, thanks man for trying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's just one. It's a harder film to find, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But I guess now is. So who won the mini golf?
Me.
On the mini golf.
All right.
Rob won the mini golf, but it's his pick right now, so he doesn't win.
So, because I think I kind of know what I want to do for next time. I don't want to do too much anime in one go, unless because we do anime rounds. But that's the whole conversation.
There's too much anime in one go.
But
Yes, there fucking is. Are you bonkers?
we'll save that for next time. So, I guess it should be Alec. What's your film?
Well, this month I've been avoiding Top Gun for like a good long part of my life, and having like seen it all and all that, and it really just sort of stirred something up in me, and it just took me back to something like very significant in my youth and all that. So I'm going to pick Maverick.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
From 1990, starring Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster.
Oh, okay.
That was a smart one. I was like, hang on, there is another film called Maverick. And I can't see it.
Cannot be.
Yeah, he did that on
When
purpose.
Pat finds out.
I am upset that Pat is not conscious right now, but
Yeah. Still try it again
Is that
tomorrow.
Maverick? Which Maverick?
Yeah, he's good.
Maverick Saber.
Actually, yeah, you should not paste it in the chat, and then tomorrow, when Pat asks what the pick is, just say Maverick.
Let's see what he goes for.
I'll put it into the spreadsheet as well.
Oh wait, which year? Sorry,
1990.
Is this? Oh no, it's not. Every time we have a Mel Gibson
1990.
pick, I'm like, is this our first Mel Gibson pick?
We've had a few now, I think.
This
I
might
must-
be his first one where he's a recurring actor.
I must be spelling it wrong because
Right.
I'm not.
1994.
I might be 1994 actually.
Because
Yeah, it's
That was the year you
1994.
were born, not the year we were born.
I wasn't born in that.
Oh, I can't remember when you were born.
Oh, what kind of friend are you?
I can't remember anyone's birthday apart from maybe Rob's and Pat's. I don't know.
Mm,
I know Manos is coming up next.
yeah, July 9th. Yeah, July 9th. Yeah, it's
When's
Huh?
John's birthday?
Oh, John's is this week, I think.
July 6th. Yeah,
July
Yeah.
6th.
Thursday.
Brilliant.
because I remember celebrating his 666 birthday.
Oh.
yeah. Let me see. So it's on Apple TV. Obviously, it's on YouTube.
Actually, I think I've seen I've seen the ending to this movie. I know how this movie ends. I remember watching it on fucking TV. This is fucking
really?
yeah. I remember this. This is an excellent film. Okay, sweet. Because I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh yeah. I was like,
It's on
Hilarious.
Amazon. Amazon Prime available to rent, just like everywhere else.
Yes, see it on Amazon Prime and nowhere else.
So yeah, Amazon, Apple, or YouTube, you can rent it from,
Cool.
or
Yeah.
Sky Store if you want to rent it from there as well. Yeah,
Cool.
into that. Yeah. That's where you can see it. I wonder
Is
if
Manuel
it's
frozen
anywhere
for
else.
you guys as well?
Yeah, he's just smiling.
Oh, okay.
He's got a big smile there.
That's
It's
Oh,
like-
really? I'm just
It's like
frozen.
the Joker's taken
Oh,
over the screen.
Yeah, you're just like this.
Let
Oh
me
my
get this.
goodness.
At the bedside.
I thought Emmanuel's Mr. Freeze.
True.
Freeze.
Well, I mean, he's Mr. Freeze
See?
framed, I guess.
You got a picture?
Almost. Hang on. Oh, they've changed it.
Let me just double check. What
Adam
Prime.
and
Okay.
Evil.
I think it's because I went off into another app, so it's just confusing. Wait, Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live series 1? What? Oh man, this is still going on. Sorry. I just saw that on Sky Go and I'm just like, anyway, I will. Oh yeah, are we still recording?
I can stop.